your host and moderator. We have two distinguished guests on the phone with us on this show. We have Mr. Rudy Chavez, and he'll identify his title and what he's doing. We just know in order to pave the way, you have to build it, so we do it with construction. And then we have an old-timer in knowledge I'm talking about. I'm not going to tell his age that next birthday will be 90, but Mr. Alvin Brooks, he's in the Corps. He's with Kansas City University, now UMKC. He's Mayor Pro Tem, and he's a pretty good guy. So welcome to Guess Who's Coming to Kansas City. We'll have people. We have Mr. Aaron Folks out of St. Louis, and we'll have our engineer in case we don't get it right, and I know we are. So let's proceed. Rudy, tell us who you with and what your purpose for doing the things you do to make Kansas City, St. Louis a better place to live in and to get apprenticeships.
All right, thanks, Steve. I'm Rudy Chavez. Just introduced me. I'm the program coordinator for the Missouri Apprentice Ready program. Now, my friends on the St. Louis side, you're familiar with the BUD program, which is basically a pre-apprenticeship program, or we are trying to fit our reach to women in the North, folks re-entering society, trying to provide them a better pathway into the registered skilled trade apprenticeship. The program that I coordinate, it's a 5-week program. We actually, the participants receive a $100 a week stipend to attend. We spend 120 hours plus in the classroom. We study construction, math, diversity in the construction industry, OSHA, health and safety. I cover blueprint reading, a lot of history of the working man. We actually do a financial literacy, spend about 8 hours on financial literacy, talking about budgets and whatnot. But my goal in life is to make sure no one is excluded from opportunities to apprenticeship. This is why I have chosen to accept this assignment of building this program in Kansas City.
Well, we also know that for Mr. Chavez deal, construction, we're talking about men and women, since this is Women History Month. It's also, a lot of people not knowledgeable that it's also Black Press Month. So we have another guy, a distinguished young man, by the name of Mr. Alvin Brooks. And what are you going to bring to the table? Do we have something we should record in history, or should we help you create another book which you already got going, right?
MC, are you talking to me or are you talking to Alex?
I'm talking to you, sir.
Well, whatever you wish to do, and thanks to you and Brother Howard here in St. Louis and Brother Chavez here in Kansas City, and the best there for the work that you're doing in this program. You know, we have not had an opportunity for a long time, those of us of color, regardless of which one of the trades it is. And so I haven't admitted to my knowledge, but I know what apprenticeship is all about and who has been left out of that apprenticeship program. So congratulations to you, sir, and the best in your work. My name is Alvin Brooks. I'm here in Kansas, Missouri, and as my brother M.C. Richardson said, I'll be 90 years old the 3rd of May, and they really wish to make a gift of a financial gift. Just give a call. Just give a call to me, drop by my house, certification ID. I just, MC, and I thanks for having me on. I just completed a year ago my memoir, Binding Us Together. It's a 282-page chronicle of my life, from the birth of my 14-year-old mother in Little Rock, Arkansas, Pulaski County, my 17-year-old father who's in Florida. It deals with that right on up to my years as a public servant here as a police commissioner in Kansas City, Missouri. And I chronicled again not only my late wife of 63 years, and he passed away 9 years ago, and also my 6 children. Our son passed away 18 years ago, and I have 5 beautiful daughters. And so it's a book of my life. It's a chronicle. it reaches out and spans the time of all my encounters as an African American male in this racist society called America, and how, in spite of that, there's those of us who've endured and be able to make some accomplishments, not for ourselves, but for our people as well as our community.
You know, also we'll bring in Mr. R. Fowlkes, who's he's he's the president of the Missouri Black Chamber of Commerce. He's also a man for all seasons, so he can deal both construction, book-wise, because he has a story he's going to tell. But he got a few years yet, Mr. Brooks, before he reached 90. But we might as well bring you on in now. We're not going to wait till you take another nap. You are ready to join the show and intervene. And Mr. Scott Owens, our engineer, everybody has something to say. These are the shows, and we might say, maybe you can do it, or maybe Scott will say, who listened to this show and how this show is distributed and what channels or things they need to go to in order to listen to the show. Would you do that for us, Ms. Owens?
I'd be glad to, Mr. MC. You can listen, of course, to the show on our Facebook page, Ferguson USA Hot Talk Radio, as well as Twitch, YouTube, and our website, the FergusonUSAHotTalkRadio.com. As of last month, we've had places like Slovenia, Poland, American Samoa, Ireland, and France tune into our website and our downloads. We also have put these on Spotify and wherever you could get your podcasts.
Well, also, since Al has been involved in a lot of things, he's been doing this for X amount of years, and he's also Rudy and Mr. Brooks. He also dealt a lot of construction laborers and things like that. So at any time, we did this on purpose because I think he's the youngest of the people speaking today. So it's your turn now.
Well, thank you so much. Well, Scott is the youngest, okay? So,
Okay.
Okay, but I have to be part of the show, MC. Matter of fact, I'm a former organizer for the IBW, and also a former local 2 here in St. Louis. And I also was the built a team system for the city of St. Louis as a civil servant like Mr. Brooker was. I was a cable compliance officer, and also was a member of the St. Louis Labor Council also during that time, and also was a kind of training that labor limited by by the local 688 back in the day when Harold Gibbons days he was around with those days. So been around for a while, and also been in many campaigns and campaign managers, and also right now the head of the founder CEO of the Missouri Chamber of Commerce.
Well, Rudy, you said that the apprenticeship, and you said you got some focus in on St. Louis. Repeat that to people who might not be knowledgeable of what you do or will do as far as it relates to St. Louis, and of course Kansas City, we know that. So would you do that for us?
Absolutely, MC. So in St. Louis in 2014, they designed what's called the program, and I got to tell you, if you're on St. Louis, I'm not trying to offend you, but I'm a competitive guy. But what I like to say is, St. Louis kind of grabbed an idea of something we did here in Kansas City. Back, I think, when Mr. Brooks was on the council, we had a program called Project Prepare, and it kind of folded, about 2009, and then St. Louis, they developed the HUD program in 2014, which, they've reached out within the community to many organizations to try to bring more folks of color and more women into skilled trades apprenticeships. Now, I can't remember all the statistics, but I want to say that there's been more than 300 participants graduate in that program. And I think high 80% have gone into registered apprenticeship programs. So they're doing a good job, and we're trying to do the same thing here in Kansas City. It's just we've just started first of this year with our pilot cohort, and I'm actually starting a new cohort Monday on the 21st. If any, certainly if you have any questions, you can send them into the show, and I reply to them.
Okay, anyone, we don't need anyone to say they accuse us of dead air, because we got some long-winded, well-learned persons that are guests today, so feel at any time to ask a question, tell us about history, and how the two should work together in the first place.
Well, I might say to our listening audience that Mr. Chavez in particular, he's probably not old enough to remember this, but I was appointed Director of Human Relations after the 1968 riot. I was appointed in May of 1968, and shortly after that began to try to work with contractors of color to get into the trade, as well as to get an equitable share of those contracts that were led by the city, as well as those contract cards that received funding from the city. And so it grew and grew and grew. Now here in 2022, unfortunately, we still have to be into the trade that we need to be kept. We need our equitable share in the trade. If things are a level playing field, Mr. Chavez wouldn't have had a job. And to let us know that racism, when it relates to persons of color, still makes a part of the American landscape. And I think that those brothers and sisters of ours of the lighter hue who are really interested in making America what we say she has been, but is not, and what the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution spells out does not include us. But now is the time that there ought to be moving towards a more perfect union, level playing field, and it's not there yet. So I congratulate those like Brother Howard and Brother Smith who are trying to level that playing field. But you can't do it by yourself. You have to have contractors in the trade who believe in this country and believe in equal opportunity to make it so. I'd like to see them put both Brother Howard and Brother Smith out of a job, but that ain't coming soon.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have to agree that there's a lot of the unions, have somewhat dropped the ball or either fell short, and there's mistakes, work to be done. And I think, what Rudy's trying to do, is like you said, is trying to bridge that gap, because right now with all of the contracts that's coming down right now in this infrastructure program, 90% or not more of all those jobs would be union jobs. And that's been one of the things that President Biden is the union president. And so that means that, to be able to manage those jobs, you have to be a union member. So right now, I think for Rudy, recruitment should be a very easy thing, because again, not only are these good paying jobs, they're paying, they also have lifetime benefits that, come with insurance, insurance, also for, benefits, for death and everything else for your families.
MC, I with what you're saying, and prior to that, Mr. Brooks is dead on. There was intentional exclusion for many years, and it wasn't until probably about the time that Mr. Brooks was appointed to the HRD at the city that we started getting some attention, and then the program that you administered, the Kansas City plan, was kind of the beginning of this. But it seems to me like we do the program and then it would run out of gas. And here we go, doing it all over again. It needs to be sustained, where it isn't just a program every so many years. It needs to be sustained, like what we have in St. Louis that's 8 years old, and it's still running. So we need to keep at it. And that's what I'm trying to do here on the Kansas City side.
Well, I want to talk just a little bit about my book, the Iron Brothers, the MC. As I say, I wrote it. I wrote the book not for it to be distributed, not to be sold, not to be a bestseller. I wrote it because I want to chronicle my life, which I think is kind of interesting and really unique as an African American boy growing up and being the descendants of a 14-year-old mother, 17-year-old father, and then marrying young myself, and then coming into racism that I confronted as a black child and a black teenager and a black man. But I think that it's and if anyone wants to buy the book, binding us together, you can get it at Barnes and Noble or any day, and if you get it in Kansas City, you can get it at the Black Bars in America. Give me a call. And I got another order. It wasn't the top 10 bestsellers in the city. I don't know what it is nationally. Andrew McNeil and my local publisher and Simon and Schuster is the international seller. So I don't know how I won't know for another 30 days what the sales are national and international. But I think that it deals with some of the kinds of things that we are and you and T have been working with in the media, because when you started the media program for African Americans in particular, but people of color in general, I think that it shows that things aren't what they ought to be. And I try to point that out in my book, 283 pages, and I of course highlight from the time that I tried to get a job as at the Ford Motor Company. We had a federal contract with the government making B-47 bomber wings that we could not work on the assembly line at here in Kansas, outside of Kansas City, and in the village up there, and then not only there, when I went in the police department after I left there, when the police started scared in college, and when the police department and found out that racism was just as homegrown there as it was in Ford Motor Company. And then there I stayed and went to the city after the riot, as you heard me say. And when I went to the city government, the racism was there. And in general, I saw that was the case. And so my book deals with some of those journeys that bumps along the journey. And the interesting thing about it, and the sad thing about it, though, is that that's what happened to me from about 9 or 10 years old up until the 75th day, that things have changed to some degree. But if they're changed in total, we would not be discussing that here on Guess Who's Coming to Kansas City today. And which means that the struggle goes on. And if anybody out there thinks because they're of Hispanic background or Latino background or African American background that we've made it, something's wrong with them. I don't care if you're 614 billionaires, 7 of them are black. But there are more African billionaires in America than there are African American billionaires. That says something also. So the struggle goes on. And I think that our listeners, wherever you are, listening to who's coming to Kansas City, America's struggle against racism and bigotry and homophobia and xenophobia and those kind of things is still much a part of the American landscape. And who has to solve that? It's going to be those persons, our brothers and sisters of the right of you, because you have the power, political and economic power. And those of us of color don't have that power. We can tell you what's wrong, but I would hope one day that our sisters and brothers of the light of hue would be able to learn enough about us, people of color, the Native American, the First Nation people, the people who came across the Rio Grande, and also those of us who were descendants of slaves. That you can learn enough about us that even if we weren't present, you could tell the story and defend us. You can never walk in our shoes. You can never be of color. You can never be a Native American who went through that whole trail of tears. For those of us who are descendants, for those who denied the right to come in across the southern border. But you certainly should take the time to learn about our struggle and understand our struggle, and then advocate for us even if we're not present.
I got an accomplishment, well, instead of administrative Kansas plan, now, was a very talented, I believe, recruiter counselor, and also I published a book, a magazine called City in an Hour, to acknowledge this is Black Press Month. But I want to make sure that our people here and the people who are part of this show, how they can obtain a copy of your book so they can continue the work you just began, but you've been doing it for X amount of years. So you need to, Scott, Rudy, how Mr. Brooks can say how you can attain a copy of it, because it's something that just one person shouldn't be talking about it. We should have everybody talking about. First, read it. So how could it be distributed to these individuals that's on the show with us, Mr. Brooks?
Well, I mentioned it's on sale as Barnes and Noble book, also Rainy Day book, also the Black Archives in Tennessee of America, and also I'll leave my email address, Alvin Brooks, that's ALVINBROOKS 2011 @gmail.com. That's Alvin Brooks 2011 @gmail.com. And if you email me, and then I can tell you where I can, you can get the book or get it from me.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because I think all of them on autograph books.
Oh, yeah, I've been more than happy to do it. My fingers are ready to go with my black ink. So I'd be more than happy to autograph anyone here in the area. And if you're out there, and if you email me, you send me the check for 30, I'll autograph it for you, and I'll pay the post and send it back to you. It's Alvin Brooks 2011 @gmail.com. And the title of my book is Binding Us Together. Google my name out there if you have something. Alvin Brooks, and the title again is Binding Us Together. And this is the author that you're listening to here on Who's Coming to Kansas City, Alvin Brooks.
And also, Alvin hosts a podcast called a regular weekly show on every Wednesday, which I've been previously part of, where a lot of black men we talk about, I guess it's like a round table. We sit down and discuss the issues that's in the community and how we can deal with them, and how with solutions to some of the things that Alvin's talking about now. So I mean, so we can. And matter of fact, here's a man, by the way, Alvin, that I admired from the first time I met you. That needless to say, I listened to him, have no problem speaking his name, but I remember in '68 when you got started into what you were doing. I was just coming out of high school, and during the '68, people are not aware, there was some of the most racist times in America when we had a lot of riots in colleges. I went up to school at Wilberforce, and matter of fact, all across the country, Ohio and anywhere else, blacks were just starting to wear these dashikis, afros, and it was a time that people still talk about nowadays, but a lot was starting to take place. And as a matter of fact, and unfortunately, times are not too much different now when it comes to the racism that we still experiencing today.
Well, you see, I didn't hear all of that, but let's remind ourselves also, to our listeners out there, and to those who have relationships with people who say that they want to make sure that America is the land of the free and the home of the brave. And let's make sure that they're aware of the fact that what's going on now on voter suppression. And that's to suppress the vote of color. African Americans, Hispanics, Native Americans, and just because one of the parties becomes so divided and racist that they could care less about America, but more about their own self-interest and the January 6th insurrection is a testament of what it is. And you had 100 and some persons in Congress who voted against the elected president, the president who was elected and elected in a fair and democratic way, 160 members of Congress. Congress, and then those who plan to ask the Vice President not to certify. That is a formality that began at the beginning of this nation. Something wrong with us. And if there's those who don't speak out against that, who have the voice, who have the politics, who have the money, we have the microphone and the stage, and something's wrong somewhere. And I think that this is an interesting time. Our democracy is hanging on by a thin string, just barely hanging on. So when you have somebody in 2000 that's trying in 2021, January 6th, is trying to overthrow the government, that's a dictatorship. That's anarchy, and that's treason. And if there are those that don't understand that, participate in that, something's wrong with you. And if you don't say something about it, you're just as guilty as the people who committed the crime. Treason.
And as you just tune in, you listen to a very special broadcast. Not only are we celebrating Women's History Month, but we also are celebrating Black Press Month. We have 3 or 4 distinguished gentlemen on with us, as Mr. Alvin Brooks, Mr. Our Folks, and Mr. Rudy Chavez, and then we have the engineer, in case we might slip some, Mr. Scott Owens. But on the same token, this is a show, this is history. It's not in the making, it's already history. When Mr. Brooks came here as a core, he grew up in Leeds, as a part of Kansas City, the people of Kansas City would know, and also he he went to UMKC when it was called Kansas City University. Mr. Brooks has been around. Whenever there was problems in the community, I remember they had some problem when I worked at Parkview. Who was the first one down there? Mr. Alvin Brooks. So just like the Bloodstone, we go a long way back, okay? But people, use is an opportunity for you. If you can hear people, you need to read about their history, their memoirs, and things like that. And that's what this show is all about, reaching out to each and every one of you. So, Rudy, R.T. Coles was a trade school on 19th and Tracy. I went to R.T. Coles. But prior to that, it was Lincoln. Then it became R.T. Coles. Whereas the minority, basically, was Negro, was Black, was African American, where most of them, once they got a trade there, they couldn't get a job in the union, so they went to work for themselves. And all this took place in this city. Of course, I went to the Castle on the Hill after that, was Lincoln High School. So let's continue, gentlemen.
So let me, for those that are on the call, I didn't share this. This is Rudy again. If you're interested in more information in the program, you can go to a website. It's MissouriWorksInitiative.org, or you can, reach out to MC and he'll put me in contact with you. I'd love to talk to you. Right now, I'm a little bit embarrassed that this program that I'm coordinating is it's the best kept secret in Kansas City, and I need you. That shouldn't be the case. We should have people wanting to get into these apprenticeship programs, and our program is the best route to getting into one of the skilled trades apprenticeships.
Well, you said you're a little bit embarrassed. I don't think so, but you should tell the people you had a birthday party and you're not sharing any ice cream or cake with us.
Well, that's it. But I got in my little cupcake before I got on the car back there. They're probably eating them all up while I'm out here talking on the show.
Well, and also, this is our folks speaking. I host a show every Saturday on Ferguson USA, HotTalkRadio.com. Since we got on the air, we're back in 2015. It's called Lunch with the Missouri Black Chamber of Commerce. And we're an organization that works to create opportunities for entrepreneurs, black businessmen who are trying to grow their business, create a business, or either find money for their business. And one of the things that our chamber has done over the years is being able to help business owners learn more how to work together, how to get contracts. And presently, we're in the process of building a complex in Haytown, Missouri, that we're very much proud of. That will be 24 units of apartments there in Haytown, also a supermarket, a laundromat, and a retail commercial space. And right now we're in the process of acquiring the land to do this. And this is a project that would be totally owned by the Missouri Chamber of Commerce, be the first of this kind in the country. And people are aware Haytown, Missouri is probably one of the poorest, it is one of the poorest cities in the state of Missouri. And it's a Phillips-Side County, it's down in the Boot Hill country, they call it. And so we're very proud of that. And also we're very much proud of the members that we have. We have one member last year we're very proud of. She joined the chamber last year. She had about less than five employees, but she was a guest on the show this couple weeks ago. And Women's History Month. She now has over 120 employees now. That she's now gainfully working, employed, paying $60 an hour, and she's in the Amazon delivery business, and she's still growing. And she also has a whole road truck business, so we're very much proud to have been a part of growth. So we do have some service detail that we have our members to get better every year.
You know, I might piggyback off of that. I got about people listening, guess who's coming to Kansas City. I was contacted by the Art Institute, and they heard about the Missouri Black Chamber of Commerce, so they can get in touch. And Rudy, what about the makeup about the women in construction? What trades or what thing? I know they have personal services, they have all that. What might the women get into, and what success stories do you have to inform our audience to date?
So right now, I think that women can do the work of all the skilled trades. I was in the industry for 36 years, and I worked around many women in the different trades. In fact, the lady that is the program coordinator in St. Louis, she comes from the Iron Workers Union. But any of the trades, I think there's a place for our sisters to get into and become a journey person. Right now, I can tell you they're crying for. I have 2 women signed up for my next cohort, and I explained to them. I said, when you go on these training centers, they're all going to be trying to recruit you because they want to put their best foot forward of trying to reach certain diversity goals they may have. So I would encourage any woman, like with our programs, because they're going to get exposed to each of the trades, so you'll be able to see which one might be the best fit for what you want to do as a career. Now, the second part you asked about the success story. Right now, I have 2 guys that are waiting to be placed into 2 unions. One's the Bricklayers Union, and the other fella is waiting on the Plumbers Union and the Roofers Union. I just spoke with them this week. They told them April 1st they'd probably be going to work and entering an apprenticeship program. Let's keep like I tell them, you got to be persistent. Don't give these employers a chance to forget about you. We'll check in every week if we have to. So I would love to share a success story. When I get one, I will certainly let you know, because I need to keep the folks informed of what's going on with the Missouri Works program.
Well, go ahead.
Well, it's a good thing to hear that you just get started and that you don't have some success stories right now, but we all have to start someplace. And I guess Mr. Brooks, and I know as far as I'm myself concerned, that a lot of times in the union field that I was on jobs, well, actually I quit my own job, my own office where I was, but when I was doing organizing, I normally would be the only black in the room when I was going out and all around in this half of the state of Missouri, but when we were trying to recruit members to join our unions to become members of local too, and become an electrician. And when we did a lot of recruitment, in a lot of the training centers here in St. Louis area, where we folks broke open the doors, because we had a lot of racial issues in local too, and other units here in this side of the state. So we had our issues also, and we still have some issues today. And that's why I said we're still trying to recruit and work with unions now, and with the National Chamber of Commerce to get more blacks into the union. Because now, like I mentioned earlier, all the infrastructure jobs right now, we're going to the unions. And so if you're going to get part of that, those billions of dollars that are being spent, that's the only way in to get that. And so we also try and create businesses also, for to work with the unions also, to get them organized to be part of, to be a signatory. We just means that they are employing people, union members. And that's our goal right now. And right now we just started on that. Right now the change is something like a baby in that area also. So I can relate to where you're coming from.
But Howard, you were mentioning about Hayti. You meant Hayti Heights.
Hayti, Missouri.
Hayti Heights down in Tennessee County.
Well, they both next door to each other. Matter of fact, I talked to the mayor in Tennessee County in Hayti Heights. She and I in communications. We're working with her now to bring to plan some activity for her with the NASDAQ, with the Missouri Human Commerce. We work with her right now, Mr. Brooks. We are hand in hand with her, and also with in Hayti Heights. We're blessed to have a Mayor Pro Tem there, Mr. Lockridge, who has been our best friend down there as we try to come to the city there. And so right now we work with the young lady there, the Mayor Pro Tem, and she's doing a great job right now of trying the best she can do. And Hayti Heights is an all-black city for the most part. People out wearing in Hayti Heights.
Now, Hayti Heights, the person who put Hayti Heights on the map is the late David Hume.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
And David Hume was the mayor, and the city of Hayti, when David Hume got in with the governor, Kit Bond, and some other legislators, and got a HUD grant to do a water system, the city of Hayti tried to block it, and it went into court. And I think we went up to the Supreme Court, and they won. It shows you that, and I can remember this. We used to, MC may remember this, I was president of the Missouri Black Leadership Association. And one day we held our meeting at a brand new hotel there in Hayti, Jurien. And no, I take that back. We had a restaurant there. We stayed in Jurien. And so when we came out, there was about 60 of us from across the state. When we came out, each one of us had cards that said you have been visited by the Ku Klux Klan. And so there was a state trooper in there. It looked like he was about 14 months pregnant. It was a man, but he showed he was still out of shape. And so I walked up to him. I said, listen, I just want to report that all of us, some 60 plus, had these cards on our windshield. And it's just KKK country. He reached in his trying to pull out a bill and showed me the same doggone card that was placed on our windshield in mayor. I wrote a letter to the superintendent of the State Highway Patrol and never got a response. And here we have a man who's patrolling up and down the highways and byways in the state of Missouri. He's a Klansman. How can you get equal justice under the law? And the lady who stands in blindfolded, meaning that she's blindfolded and therefore has equal justice regardless of race and this and that. And this fellow is because of the woman's peace. And I bet you that if you check his records, people on 55 highways, north and south, and there's east-west highways, but 55 is the one that goes right down here. I bet you see there, you find out that the majority of the people that he's stopping with tickets were African-American people. Or there were people who were from Hispanic or Mexican background who were working down there in the fields for the white farmers. And I mean, so I know Hayti Heights very well, very well. And it's had a struggle, but I'm happy to hear. Now, I don't know whether when you say that you're building something there, whether you're talking about Hayti Heights. Now, you talk about Hayti, there's a Green family and some other families who live in Hayti who have really been struggling to try to make Hayti become more equitable and fair because it has a black population across the track.
Well, right now we're working with Hayti City. That's what we're building in Hayti City. As you know, Hayti Heights is right across the street from each other.
Right across the stream. Across the river.
Close the railroad track, you mean, isn't it?
No, it's across the bridge. There's a stream under here.
It's really just right across the street there. You know, there's no barricades and nothing, no impediments. But right now, what we building there is, and primarily is, our goal is to create businesses in Hayti Heights in that whole part of the state. Because right now, as you know, Mr. Brooks, there's nothing down there that's pretty much owned by blacks, okay? So what we're doing here is, this supermarket will be owned by the Black Chamber, Missouri Black Chamber of Commerce. So part of the building we build will be owned by the Missouri Black Chamber of Commerce. The laundromat will be owned by the Missouri Black Chamber of Commerce, and so will the retail space. So what this is doing is creating jobs down there, opportunity for the black community where they can get employed, when they can also be trained also in the 5G technology that we bring into that whole area. So so this is the whole idea is to make this an example out of the poorest city in the state of Missouri. Matter of fact, we got asked to come down because one of our members had to be a bishop there, and he had this dream about what Hayti had nothing to offer, no services, and so that got my attention, and I shared it with a friend of mine that used to be the head of the National Chamber, the head of the United States Chamber of Commerce, and we got together and looking around, and he found some other white business owners around the country that want to make a difference in the black community. And so we got together, and that's how I was able to get matter of fact, I will say this. The first part of our project is worth $7.5 million, which is 24 units of apartments. And that money has already been funded. We're using private dollars to build what we're building. We're not using any government money in our project. We're using private dollars to do what we're doing.
That's great. Congratulations.
Well, right now, but the hard part of Mr. Brooks is I went to the city council and asked them, we need some land. They said, we ain't got no land. And unfortunately, we thought we had found some land. In fact, we're still negotiating with this group there, which is the people out of where Hayti built the first black high school in the country. It was 300 miles of Hayti, and that reached up to St. Louis. Reached all the way down to Memphis, and they built this back in 1932. So that land was vacant now, and we were trying to acquire that land from the Alumni Association, and we started like last August trying to acquire that land. We still haven't got that land acquired yet. We've got a lot of problems trying to do that, but we're right now looking at another site closer to the highway, and we looked at, we asked for 5 acres of land, and right now, we have the money in hand to buy, but it's trying to find the land to get started, Mr. Brooks. In Hayti, as you know, nobody wanted to help us, and we thought we had found somebody, but we still not giving up. I don't give up, as you know, Mr. Brooks. I just go around. I'm not warning. There's always a way to get in. Some kind of you keep looking.
Well, I'd hope that the group would also, if there's not a statue or something recognizing David Hume, I would hope that at least that discussion would come up. You may come down that way. I haven't been down that way. I went to my cousin's funeral 3 years ago, who was a former police chief of Memphis, Melvin Burgess. So I went a different way than go down 55. I went a back way, which was a little shorter. But I hope that there would be something there in honor of David Hume that is not there already. But congratulations on that if you're in Hayti, because Hayti does not have a good record as far as black folks concerned.
No, it doesn't. Matter of fact, racism is alive and well. It still has to change, and we are blessed that the gentleman that's been our godsend there is Mr. Wendell Lockridge, who's a lifelong resident of Hayti, and he's also the only member black on the council. He's also the mayor pro tem, and that's mainly because he's retired, and the present mayor, she works full time, so he has the time to actually run the city. To be honest with you, and he's been a godsend to us, and been able to allow us to do a lot of stuff that presently probably would not have been able to do. But by his efforts and working with us, he's opened a lot of doors and continue to open doors for us.
I think I'm aware of the Lockwood family, the Green family, the Lockwood family, but two of the others. But just because of MC has said that I'm almost 90 years old, my memory's not as good as it was.
Oh, he's very articulate.
No, we're not. But I'm saying, but I thank you, for your, for your help, down there. Because right now, again, I won't try to sugarcoat that it is an uphill battle. We have support of the community. Matter of fact, we already working with people now, creating some financial opportunities for the people who need to have for business loans. We work here in St. Louis with Justine Peterson. That's where our office is located. And they're the #1 small micro lender in the country. And so we're trying to bring financial help to the community also.
Mr. Rudy Chavez, they talking about all this building and things like that. They got to be construction. And by the way, what is the ratio journeyman to apprentices would you would normally try to get on jobs?
Usually they'd like to have the ratios to be like 3 to 1. Some of the employers would like them to be 2 to 1 because they're at a lower rate. I think right now there's an incredible demand for apprentices. I mean, in the Kansas City market, there's $1 billion of projects on the books getting ready to start now and into the future. I'd say they got about a 10 or 15 year run at work where an apprentice could become a journey person and make some good money before they're able to retire. So the ratios typically are 3 to 1.
Okay, let me ask you this: as it applies to Home for Humanity, story that former President Jimmy Carter, do you have requirements on that apprenticeships as it relates to getting journeymen on there? How does that work?
So what I know about community service, historically, like I come from the electrical workers union, and what we did is we would incentivize the community service requirement. Some of when you have these apprenticeship programs, you have management on the other side, and sometimes they're not as willing to make a firm responsibility that you're going to do X amount of community service. I personally am a community service advocate. I've spent a lot of weekends and evenings, doing different programs, whether it be Christmas in October or Habitat for Humanity. But I think anytime we get an opportunity to give back, that's a great thing for our community. So, I certainly would like to see that. The one thing that I cannot do in this capacity is all these training programs maintain their own autonomy. I can't tell them what to do because they're my partners, but I could surely share with them, some suggestions that, hey, this is what so-and-so's doing, but they talk quite a bit amongst themselves, so, we'll just see what we're able to walk into in the future.
And that's one thing I was mentioning earlier, MC, that my goal is to, in the Haytown area, is we hopefully we will be able to get some minority contractors to come in, because there's enough jobs going to be being created here, and we can get some of the them to become signatories, which means they be able to hire their own employees, and ideally we can hope that they become they may become union members. Who knows? But right now, this is laying the foundation for them to have a black electrician company come in to be a contractor, have a bricklayer. But right now, most of the work we're seeing now, job-wise, are in the hauling industry, whereas there's a lot of hauling work going on in that area for truck drivers and stuff like that. I haven't seen a lot of other unions like for me with no other. Matter of fact, I know for a fact I'm gonna ask Local 2 to be involved. As we were changing in Local 2, we in charge. I said when I was organizing the whole this half of the Missouri, with the outdoor unit that provides the cell phone towers, build the electricity power lines and put ground and stuff in the ground for the utilities. And that's what local 2, that's without you, that's what local 2 is. So I think local 2, I look for them getting involved in some kind of way, providing some organizing a black company to be a signatory down in the Haytown area. That's one of my goals.
I don't hear anything.
Well, like I say, when you come to, trying to find, and that's why I said my job as a Missouri Chamber of Commerce. What we're doing also is not only do we work, talking about the Haytown project, we've been blessed to have a program with Blockchain Academy. It's a program that I'm blessed to say I was able to head up for the chamber, and we got to a flying start. As a matter of fact, even before we got halfway through the program, we already got companies, and this is Blockchain Academy. This is an industry that deals with cryptocurrency, and we were offering scholarships to business owners, to not only business owners but to their family members, because this is through the workforce program. That once you get our certification, and what happened here is you take a course out that you want to get certified in, and this is a cryptocurrency, and you get a certificate. And it depends on the course you take, but once you complete your course, you get a certificate. You're certified in that industry. And right now, bankers, most industries in the whole country right now are looking for people to understand cryptocurrency. And like I said, one of our students, he only started about 2 months ago. He's already been recruited, for a job already. So the program was just getting started. We were fortunate to get out to a flying start and we slowed down because we were growing too quickly. But right now, this is some of the things that we're doing as we're trying to create. This program with our $5,000 scholarships that we offer free of charge, that we offer to the black community. Not only just the black community, but anybody right now that we can get a job for, want to get into cryptocurrency, we want them to be able to be a part of this program.
Mr. Brooks, within Lee's district is the Dunbar area. What was the ratio to minorities and apprentices when they was building up that place? That's right across from the VA hospital on 4801 East Linwood.
Well, it's MC. It was 110% African American, and of course, when people began to get older, graduates from high school, they began to leave, but there's still remnants of persons who go back to the early, who go back to the descendants of early days that they're still out there. But it's kind of like it was interesting. We had outhouses up until the water system was built at the Twin Towers out at the Kaufman and Chief Stadium. And so it shows you that what happened. But then the hospital was built in 1950, and it didn't change the complexity of there. But there were some houses and professionals who got there on Quincy, and they made a difference. So but it's still there. It's the Lee Dunbar area, anybody elementary school where all of us went. And you were talking about you went to Chico's. I went to Chico's also. It became 35 spaces. And then I wanted to be a great musician. So I stayed down in Chico's and take a trade.
I didn't know that was okay.
And then Mr. Joey Davis was one of the great musicians, also called Charlie Parker. And we had a better marching band in Arkansas than Lincoln, although I did play scholarship to Lincoln. And then I went to Lincoln Junior College, the third floor of Lincoln High School, which is all black junior college, because we couldn't go to the white junior college at a 30-person degree. So, I mean, that's as they say, it's in the book. But it's, but even the fact, and those people who took the trade, Brother Chavez was saying, but at that time, you mentioned also, those people who took the trade with tailoring and masonry and auto mechanics and erecting, all those kind of things, they ended up working for some, they didn't work for the white business, they're either on their own or joined with those businesses already in is already established, and great businessmen came out of that era, and of course integration did not do much for us. There's no other people more than us. When we became so-called desegregated, we lost all that, and it's still losing all that. That talent that was there, and then of course we don't have the technical tools that where the trades, or all those young, a friend of mine who graduated this year after me, Roy Walker, was the electrician.
Right.
And Mr. Union wouldn't let him in. He had to join the police station.
And Mr. Watts was a bricklayer. I was always using 4 or 18, but I want to ask Mr. Chavez, most of the Hispanic Mexican or Chicano, that was our word, the name for them. What was your role? Because most of them lived on the west side, and a lot of them lived out in Argentina.
So, I'm not sure what you asked me. You said something about the Chicanos from the west side.
Well, what was the Chicano, depending on what part of the country in. Now it's Hispanic, because I cover all Spanish-speaking people. What was your role as far as getting involved in different construction or any type of job, and schooling too?
So what we did, and this has been a dozen years ago, what we started to do is we created these career fairs at the community centers around town, where we were able to get some of the trades to devote a Saturday to come, and we'd invite the people to, whether it was down there at Gregg Center or the one on 63rd Street, where we would bring all these trades together. We'd also bring the fire department, police department, anyone that could provide careers that would allow an individual to get into the middle class. And we did this successfully for a couple of years, and again, it was not funded by anyone other than just the groups that wanted to participate. It just didn't get any traction. And of course, it died out, and here we are trying to do the Missouri Apprentice Ready program, and just going to all the career fairs at the high schools, passing out flyers saying, look, this is who we are. Can we, if you're interested in the program, we can certainly, we'd like to, help you get into the apprenticeship. That's really all we did. Over on the west side, specifically, when I got in the program in '85, I applied 3 times before they finally took me in the apprenticeship, and I think there was 2 other guys from the west side. There was a couple of women. This is back in 1985. That was a few years after the Kansas City plan. It moved real slow, after that. So,
well, once again, is we're about at the close of the program. Mr. Brooks, Mr. Chavez, and also Mr. Fowlkes, how can people get in touch with you? And Alvin is still, I was just throwing that out for reality of the gentleman on the show getting an autographed copy, including myself, autographed copy of your book.
Well, I gave you my email, alvinbrooks2011@gmail.com, and my cell phone is 816-719-0670. That's 816-719-0670. And Brother Chavez, also, I was the one that raised the issue about when the west side only went to the 10th grade. You wondered why the Hispanics were dropping out of school at age 16. And I raised this when I was with the school district, and I must have an IQ of about 500 because nobody else ever thought about why it was that the Hispanics were not, Mexican Americans at that time, were not, because most of the folks that were descendants of those who came from Mexico. But finally they made the change, tore it down, and they integrated into both Manual as well as Northeast South. You may not know that history, but I want to share that with you. But 816-719-0670 or Alvin Brooks 2011, Alvin Brooks 2011@gmail.com. And MC and Aaron, thank you, and Brother Chavez, good being on with you this afternoon.
Okay, Mr. Chavez, give how people can reach you and your program and everything.
Okay, way, you can go to the MissouriWorksInitiative.org, or you can contact me on my cell phone at area code 816-806-1840. I'd love to talk to you and provide you more information about the program and how we can help you gain entry into the skilled trades program. And I do want to thank you, MC, Mr. Brooks, and Ira, for being in this conversation. I think it's very important, and thank you for having us, and God bless you for all that you do.
Well, thank you, and that's been a great show. Next week we'll conclude Women History Month and Black Press Month, but tune in. How can they reach you? What time is your show? What's the name of it?
Well, my show is from 1 to 3 p.m. on Ferguson USA, hottalkradio.com. Lots of people that you will converse. And there's you. You can get in contact with MC Richardson anytime you want to get a hold of me. He knows where I am 24 hours a day. Right, yeah. Well, by the way, we can be seen and heard on Facebook, YouTube, and also Twitch and live in living color today.
Okay, thank everybody. I know we'll be getting ready for another Zoom meeting, but let's utilize all the opportunities we have to reach the media and whatever. And the United Minority Media Association, they've been here since August 28th, 1974, and they're going to have some big events coming up. I know one primary on September the 16th and 17th. It's going to be at the I can't even think of the hotel over there. Yeah, Embassy Suite. And just get in touch with me, 816-822-8866. And thanks everybody for joining us, and continue to support us, be sponsors, and get involved. The public has a right to know.
And life is good. Have a great week. Be safe.